So you rightly asked why I strongly believe in normal is boring in my professional career. I just wanted to go back maybe during my college days. I used to have a Yamaha bike where I used to put the number plate where the heads were down, the hands were down, then the legs were up. So that was a normal boring. So that was the concept which I always, when I joined the corporate, I always did this. So I understand that normal is boring because I really don't enjoy doing routine HR maintenance works. So I being an HR leader for throughout my career, I have been always questing for and demanding for something newer, some HR interventions. I always, run for exploring unparalleled challenges within all the reputed organizations where I worked for. So the challenge sometimes brings dejection, sometimes brings frustrations, but the next very day when I'm in the office, I'm fully charged to do again with a fresher outlook, with a broader mindset. But when you talk in the hiring space, how do we do a normal scoring concept? I do adopt this. Yeah, we a lot of organizations sees the what you call the employees role fitments. They talk cultural fitments and the education, the job requirements. So I normally do over and above that. So something this is not a routine which I look into in person when I do a hiring. So I quest for the best talent who is more scalable, who has more passion to learn, have a strong values of integrities. So you know that all the agile and the growing organization like us do not have the shortage of the resources, but they do have the shortage of the right resources. So hunt for the the pressure. Best talent is always ongoing, and hiring for me again is the right people at the right time at the right place. Great. So this question again is very close to my heart. To be very frank, as an HR leader, whenever you are designing an organization structure, you should always understand the crucial role of ensuring that it has to align with the overall strategy and the objectives of the organization. So while designing an organization structure from a sketch, I suggest that one should always remember that designing organization structure is an iterative process. As a good architect, when you have to make a building foundation strong, there's the same way a sound and robust organization structure designing is the key for the success of the organization. Otherwise, the best organization systems and processes will collapse like a pack of cards if the organization structure is anonymously designed. Hence, I would request all of one who are doing the organization structuring, they should always keep in mind that before even thinking of designing an organization structure, first involve your key stakeholders. Talk to your founders, talk to your MD, you talk to your CEO, talk to your senior leadership, talk to your managers, talk to your peers who are like-minded CHROs to understand and ensure that the alignment with the overall strategy and the objective organization functioning and the business model is well understood before making the organization structure. So when you start making the organization structure and then after you've understood the business model functioning and the organization strategy as a overall, you should first think about the reporting relationships. So when I say reporting relationship, it can be line and functional reporting things, the flow of authority, the flow of responsibilities. So consider, a balanced way of centralized and decentralized decision-making process so that also depends on the organization needs, its maturity of the leadership and the culture in the organization. Also, the second aspect which I say is the span of control. So the optimum span of control of manager is always based on the nature of work, the complexity, and the skills of the employees who are the incumbent holding these positions. A narrow span of control with fewer direct reportees always requires close supervisions, and while a wider span of control with more direct reportees promote autonomy and flexibility. So consider the workload and the managerial capacity, the geography of the organization, and then basically decide the span of control. The next steps comes is the departmentization. Departmentation is again very important. So some organizations do sales, not sales. Some say support department, some say key department. That also depends on the the product metric, the geographical spread, and the goals and the operations in which the organization works. So departments should work in collaborations. Departments should have a kind of an like department which have interdependency on each other, should have a dotted line of functioning reporterships that should be kept in mind. More important is that when you make an organization structure, you should also ensure and anticipate that tomorrow you make an organization structure and you want to grow your organization. So the growth and the scalability should also be kept in mind. So you should ensure that it will be able to basically scale up the future requirement in the future in terms of if you want to add new department, it should not get into conflict with the existing departments. Also, the organization culture, which is also mainly important, I would like to mention here, is to be kept in mind. And not but last that is the career planning and the successive planning in the organization structuring when you are doing it. And it goes without saying, continual evaluation and adaptation when the structure is basically implemented needs a review. Yeah, I understand, the work integrated learning program, which is one of the, the emerging apprenticeship programs of the skill development initiated by the government. I have been, the crusader for the apprentice, and took always the first mover advantage in terms of the deployment of the apprentices whenever it comes. And I believe that we as an employer has a responsibility and obligation to make the unskilled talent more employable. So, but when we talk about the WIP process, certainly it is an improved version of, the other apprentice program after the government decided to discontinue NEEM apprentice program. So when we go for an WIP program, this WIP program is one of the best and flexible program which is done under the UGC Act 1956 under National Education Policy to 2020. So any 12th qualified a person who is doing a diploma can basically get into this program. And one of the best thing in this that basically there is no hassles of the statutory compliances, only except the ESI is to be paid. And apart from that, you can put the the apprentice on the board by 16 to 40 years of the age, and you can deploy up to 30% of the total manpower. The on-job training, I feel that it should be done by the employer themselves to ensure that they are aligned to the organization requirement. So I strongly feel that the WIP program, which is basically one of the best talent strategy program which has come up in the recent, and it will meet the sustainable needs of the future in the organization. Great. So dear, I'll just tell you one thing. See, I have been going to a lot of premier B schools for the leadership talks. I am also an education faculty in IIM Amritsar, teaching as a guest faculty. When I go there to the students, I always tell them the secret mantras of the corporates to join. Right. So some videos are also available which somebody wants to view can do. I have mentioned this, that how to basically be a success in the organization. To be very frank with you, the organization, when the people, the newer generation who are coming, the young blood they are coming, they are really, really very talented. They have a different mindset. They have a different way of thinking as we traditionally do. So whenever they come to an organization, certainly the hand-holding and the proper basically inductions of them is more important. So why these people have started failing is that basically when these new people come and tell the organization something new which the organization is not doing and which is very essential for the organization as well. The old employees, the old thought people, the loyal people may started feeling insecurity by seeing that these employees have tomorrow is generation person has come and started teaching us how things are going to be better. But for an organization, we should also understand that we should try to have a better blend with the newer employee and the older employee. So whenever, when a new employee joins in our organization, as a practice, what normally I do now, I do call that employee and sit in my cabin the day when he joins. Mandatorily and religiously I do. I speak to him very general and tell him that for first 15 to 30 days, please go meet, learn the things, observe the things, but don't comment on anything. Why? Because if you start basically commenting these things, people get insecure. So please observe. There may be a logic why things is happening and why things are not happening. List down your observations. And after a few weeks, you will majorly understand the logic of some of the observations, which was basically reasons will get sorted out yourself. any unsaid observation which still is left out, you can sit down with your manager after 1 month and discuss him one to one, and he will also appreciate. And every manager would also like to know what are the scopes of the improvements. So this is what I suggest to do. But in terms of the practices, what we follow in Pepe is that we have designed a very structured onboarding processes. When you talk about the colleges, we take from Niftians, we call them when they come to the basically our join organization for 1 year, we keep them as a management training. For 6 months, we basically ensure that they have been structurally trained in all the departments. We appoint buddies for them to ensure that they have been, given the right kind of counseling from time to time. We tell them what are our clear expectations from them after the completion of 1 year, and we keep on doing a mentoring from time to time. In our process, what we have done is, for these people, they have got 6 monthly review to be done, performance review to be done after every 6 months. So every fourth month, I call them to my office, and I try to basically understand from them how the journey has been, how the learning journey, what are the hassles they are facing. So these are very important to understand, that they get accompanied to this. And also, whenever any exit are happening, or if I get any feedback, I will try to ensure that those are been inducted in the organization, and we improve the areas where are the loopholes. But our intention is that always to ensure that the young generation should come in. Why? Because every organization wants to be a younger organization. They don't want to be an organization where the average age in the organization is more than 35 or 38. So, see, this question is again, interest of mine, because I am in doctorate in law, and I have studied the labor laws in depth during my thesis and my masters. And even in my practice also, I really keep on understanding the pros and cons of the labor codes coming in. When I'm also been, involved in a lot of panel discussion in terms of the implications coming in terms of the new labor codes. There are a lot of, goosebumps coming in the CHRO's mind. They normally call me, Sanjeev, ye kya hone wala hai yaar? What are things happening going around? Is this going to hamper us? I tell them, see, this implementation of labor code is certainly going to relieve the employers from the, these codes are very, very helpful. What has happened during earlier time, there were 52 acts which were there, and now they were reduced into 4 major acts, codes. The government has done a very wonderful work, and they were all old dated English ruled labor laws, which were somewhere it was not existing also, and they needed a very drastic review. And the government did a right, step towards this. So whenever I think they are in the very advanced stage of, or they have already been to be implemented by the government, maybe it will be done very soon. But when the implementation of labor laws, labor codes will happen, it will certainly relieve the employer from the fear of imprisonment. As you know, the labor ministry has, in a general penalty clause, you can find in all labor codes, grievance cases are protecting the rights of the worker. So in these 4 codes, they have reduced. I have read the laws, all the laws normally into a great extent. I can see there are almost, to be very precise, there are 1228 sections, which has a penalty clause, which has been reduced from 1228 to 480. So of these, only now 22 sections contains a provisions of a penalty for a first-time offence, and just 4 of them provide imprisonment of 1 year. So you can see that the discrimination of the minor offence in these particular codes has been rightly addressed by the government.